Hi everyone, now I'm going to be tying a very unusual fly. Now this was a request, and to be honest with you I had to hunt about in drawers and such like, and then back into some of the stuff that I used to tie. I do have a folder in old patterns, some that I've tied for mainly competition anglers. And I'm going to show you the question I got, one of the main questions I got was about the blob. How did the blob get its name? Now I'm going to tell you how I called it. I started calling it the blob more than anything, and it was all down to a fly called the Mr Blobby, originally tied by Jimmy McBride from Kraftye, which is a shop based in Edinburgh. I think it was Edinburgh anyway. It was on the East Coast, and Jim was represented Scotland many times and a good competition angler. And one of the flies he tied, and I dreaded tying it when I used to get asked, because I did tie for competition boys who obviously fished internationals. Now you really needed these type of flies, and even now you can't go to, if you're fishing internationals here in the UK and Ireland, you really need a blob. Whether it be tied as a booby or tied as a foam at the back, the fabs as they're called. You really need these flies. Now, and I've been asked over the years many times to tie it. Now I'm going to show you the two of the main flies that I would tie in that style. And these are old flies. Now pink and orange. Now Mr Blobby, I'll put a picture up of Mr Blobby. I'll put it up right now. So you're looking at a picture of Mr Blobby, which was basically a character from a children's programme on a Saturday morning here in the UK. It was on the BBC, and so Mr Blobby was pink and yellow and all colours and caused chaos in the streets, and the kids loved him. It was just, I don't know who was inside the actual costume, but he was a menace, Mr Blobby. But anyway, I think this was as close to the original. You would need to ask Jimmy McBride, who originally tied the fly. Because it was competition scene, you never really always got the exact colour. But as I say, these are the two, and I know a lot of people are going to look at these and say, Davie, you're going insane. But this is just part of history and how things developed over the years. And the Mr Blobby, as it was called, I mean, it's more likely to be, that's more like a Mr Blobby, though he had green eyes, if you saw in the picture. But yellow eyes were very popular, white eyes, pink eyes now, and so on. I'm not sure what one to tie here. I'll probably tie this one and then put baby eyes on it just to show you. It's very simple. It's so simple, really. Hook choice. I mean, in international competitions, this is as big as you can go. This is a competition heavyweight. This is a full and mill. Size 10. This is, if you're fishing internationals, this one, it was sponsored at the time by Classic Malts. This is an old card. And the hook size had to fit within the gauge there. And then the full fly size had to be fit within 15/16, as you can see there. So you had to tie the fly to fit in with that card. And competition fishing is like the Ferrari one. Much whether it be in the rivers, in both, and whether it would be in the World Championships, whether it be in the internationals, home internationals, they test it. If you're going to be, because I like tying, or the people I knew fish competitions all the time, so I was tying whether it be in Ireland. I've got friends in Ireland who fish the competitions all the time, as much as I had in the UK and Scotland. So your flies were always in demand, and I got a reputation for though it was quietly. Reputation that people kept it a secret. So I mean, the Irish anglers that I tied for never told anyone that I tied flies for them, so people know now, like, more than anything, as much as in the UK and Scotland. I have a lot of friends who bought flies for me, but I usually kept it quiet. So anyway, I think I'll tie this one, but instead of the orange and pink, I'll use a wee bit of yellow just to brighten it up at the back. The flash in the tail is up to yourself. I'll put some flash in. Thread I'm using is a fire orange. 8/0 from uni. Now the flash, this is just some pearl. Just get 3 strands here. It's always, for some reason, 3 strands. Especially the heavy stuff. If it was a finer crystal flash, it could be a good half dozen. You're looking for a tail length that's probably, I used to measure, I use the shank, so I would use the shank as a measure, so I knew that I wasn't going to be too long. But you can always trim this. It's easier to catch it on the way down. Just work your way to the back of the hook. Now you could stop short or you could go to the back. In this fly it always went to the back. Trim away the excess. Now I'm just going to wax my thread. I would just a couple of wide turns and then I'm going to form a dubbing loop. Now I want a dubbing loop that I want to get it halfway up the body. So basically that's going to be the first part of the body, which I'm going to put the dubbing on. Now I use a Darrow Martin dubbing twirler. There's obviously you can buy, there's a lot out there. So I usually set it on and put it over. This is a thumb screw that I used, as obviously for tightening the device. Now I found the old packets. These are the SLF that I used. So this is the old packets from the 90s, believe it or not. One of the colours for the yellow, I would use the fiery yellow, which is a popular colour, which is basically a red yellow type blend. I would use either fluorescent orange, SLF, or hot orange, or both. I'd mix them. And then I would finish off with the pink. Now, what do they call the pink? Just fluorescent pink. Just simple as that, because there's that many different colours, there's different names. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to get some of the yellow, and then quite simple, just so the yellow sticks out a wee bit, I'm going to separate it. So I'll put it on separate. So just bring your loop out and then just slide it up. Now I have some orange there, because I'm going to wind the orange. They've got some hot orange and yellow. I've mixed them all together in this case here. So basically I've mixed, no, I should really do it separate just to show you. So I'm going to get the hot orange. Not too much. You can blend them together, because that's like the booby version. So you got your hot orange. That's just your normal, and then you had your fluorescent orange. I know it seems, it's the colour blend that I used. I'm using, as I say, I'm not. Jimmy will have his own way of doing it, and you may even use what there was hanks you could buy, SLF hanks. I still have some, but I don't have all the colours. But I did use the dubbing more because it was easier to get. So I just slide it up. So we've got basically 3 colours. So we've got the fiery yellow, hot orange, and fluorescent orange. So then obviously we spin. Just keep it, don't let it go quite slow, don't spin it too quick, and allow the dubbing to sort of mix. And then what I used to do was just use my Velcro here just to lightly just grab some of the fibre, and then take my thread up to the centre just to bring it out so it airs it out a wee bit better. Wind up and stroke back as we wind. So we've got a yellow section, we're coming on to the hot orange, and then we're coming on to the fluorescent orange. So it was a fair blend. As I say, you can mess around with it, you could have a bit of fun with your own colour combinations. And then when we get to this point, we just tidy up, just tie that off. I mean, I usually fold it back, trim away the remains of the dubbing loop. And then I usually just use the Velcro to bring out the dubbing. And there we are, just can draw it back. That's fine. Now we want to form another dubbing loop, so just I take the thread up a wee bit and then come up. I get my dubbing twirler again, just set it onto the side of my vise, and I get the pink. The idea is just cut the corners off the packets. It's very easy, just then you can lightly pull it out. Now the other thing I used to do was, at the time it was Angel here we could buy in this UV. Now I used to mix it into it, or you could put it on like you could grab some of the Angel hair. This is F&F's Flash, this is their version, UV. And then I'm going to trim it maybe about 1.5 inches length, and I'm going to mix it into the pink. So I'm going to turn it into a UV. So I've got the pink here on my desk, and I just blend it. Just pulling it straight out like this. Just blend in the dubbing. And blend in the UV into it. As I say, there's different ways you can do it, so I'm just going to try and kind of tidy this. You're going to catch fibres. Just a bit of wax on my thread ready. So there's my dubbing loop. And again, I like to pull it from my fingers. Helps to straighten the fibre. You can make it if you want the fibre long, you could catch the very edge of the dubbing, or you could put it in the centre of it. Centre to me was always good enough. So we just slide it up. Make sure it's obviously spread out. And then I usually hold it straight out from the hook with my finger. And then spin the dubbing twirler. And allow it to your finger, you can tighten till it spins. And then again, just basically you can tap and pull out the fibre. Airs it out a wee bit better. And then we wind up stroking back the fibre as we go. We're going to use some Velcro anyway to brush the fibre out. You want a good head length away. If you're putting a booby eyes on it, you want a good couple of mil, maybe even 3 mil for the booby eyes. It's up to you. I'm going to draw it back a wee bit close to the head here, but we can still manage. So I'm going to go 3 or 4 turns, and then I'm going to actually fold back, tuck it back, form a reasonable head, trim away. And if you're using one of these, don't leave it with the thread twisted in, because you're going to break the wires, so just trim them off so there's no pressure on the wire. And then back to our Velcro, and you really rough it up. I mean, really give it the works. And I usually bring it kind of straight up at the top here, and then underneath here. So you've got that really good blend of colour. I see you can mess about with that, just tidying up here. And this is where you can trim. You can trim at an angle towards the back of the hook, because you have to within the rules. So I usually just come in it from the back here, and at an angle cut, just trim it. You will get a bit straight looking here. Do the same the underside. You'll see it's a bit straight. A brush, a wee toothbrush here. This will blend it. Just brush it there, gives you a nicer shape, if you want to call it that. You want to see the flash at the back. And obviously, if you're doing internationals, I'm just going to brush it a wee bit over the Velcro. You can mess about with it. See the tail, I'm going to shorten the tail a wee bit. Now I've got the booby eyes. So these are pre-formed. These I've made these myself. I've used that. This foam is Wopsy's HD or high dense foam. It's obviously in yellow, and I've basically cut it into a 5mm using tube cutter. I've cut the edge and then I've just hit it up with the lighter and that rounds it off. Then I've used my dubbing needle here just to roll it on my desk to give me the dumbbell eyes. So it's quite simple then. Once you've did that, you could just figure 8 through. Oops. Try that again. And what I'm trying to do is keep the dubbing away from the eyes while I'm figure 8ing. I'll try anyway. So make sure it's centre. You want to be centre. You don't want eyes one side bigger than the other. A couple of turns, and then just turn them round. Just to square them up. And once you've did that, as I say, try just nice tight figure 8s. I like to do it a good half dozen times or so. Just check what we like, that's fine. And once we've did that, hold the eyes back. And then just a few turns at the front. Always keeping the fibres back as much as you can. Keeping the thread tight whip finish. And then trim. And tighten my vice up, it's a bit loose. I say I'm going to brush this out with the Velcro and with the toothbrush just to get it in line. And there we are. And there we go. It's just lifting it out. I mean, there's not much you can do with a blob of fluff, but it's a colour combination, and I know people are going to look at that and go, "What the?" Without swearing, is that? And this is the Mr Blobby, or the booby version. As I say, this is one of the original ones I tied. A couple of versions, colour was, I mean the colours have all changed over the years, but these colours are still used, especially when you're using the Blob frits. And there you go. It's amazing in the water. I mean the colour, jeez. Especially for stock fish, but it'll certainly catch stock fish, but to be honest with you, I've seen these catching fish that they've been in there a long time, and don't ask me why they take it, but jeez. Some say Daphnia. There's a lot of things why they would have a go at it, and I can understand that. I've seen Daphnia, it's really some colour when it's all together, but as I say, the fish certainly do. I mean, to varnish, then obviously just a wee bit of varnish around the head area. I usually it's easier to get in with the brush. And then make sure the eye's clean. That's the Mr Blobby Booby, and I hope you found that interesting. As I say, it is an unusual. It's just the history of how I feel how the Blob. People ask me about the Blob, where it came from, and this is how I got it. This is why I called it the Blob after Mr Blobby, and it certainly, as I say, catches fish. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and again, thanks for watching.